this Mutalisk. It was my build, my plan, and my opponent has now scanned it. So he sees the Spire, he sees what's going on, and most likely he's going to have turrets at his base. Or he's just going to have a ton of Marines, as you guys see there. So you guys can see I'm in a bad position. I'm trying to get that hatchery up again. And I am actually going to try to exploit this backdoor with the Zerglings, similar to what I did in the last game, which was a Zerg versus Protoss. And like I always said, it's always nice as a Zerg player to exploit, just open up as many backdoors as you can. And on any map that allows you to do it. Now I am going to move in with only 4 Mutalisks. That's a paltry force. I could have had 8 about 2 minutes ago. So you guys can see how much damage the harass has done to me, as well as the map layout. It's really constricting as a Zerg player. So I don't have that many Mutalisks. I've allowed my opponent to get a ton of Marines as well as a Viking. Now as a Zerg player, the first thing you say when you see a bunch of Marines, what are you going to do? You've got Speedling already done. You've got a ton of Zerglings. Well, the first natural thing is to get Banelings. So you guys saw right there, I did throw up a Banelings nest. And this is actually a very standard play for Zerg. 2 hatch, Speedling into Mutas into Banelings. So you go Speedlings, you force your opponent to deal with the Speedlings early on. Then you get Mutas, and that forces your opponent to get a bunch of Marines to deal with the Mutas. Then you get Banelings to counter the Marines. So now I am exploiting that backdoor. I'm going to start to work on that second pair of rocks. And you guys can see that my opponent did move in with a couple of Reapers, which is wise because he's actually going to delay me destroying those rocks and force to pull back my forces to deal with the Reapers. And now I can go back to the rocks. I am grabbing yet again another expansion, actually a little bit misplaced there. And there goes the third Expo going up. You guys can see my natural has finally gone up. And it's important right now, even though I've got the Banelings, I haven't yet started morphing any Banelings, but at this point in the game, it's wise actually to get an infestation pit, because Plague, I call it Plague, but it's actually Fungal Growth. Fungal Growth and Banelings is so good, so good against huge clumps of infantry balls. It's almost the bread and butter, or it's actually like a toaster to the bread and butter. It just melts it away. So it's a really good idea. And on top of that, getting a Hydralisk Den down, as you guys saw, I think I threw down a Hydralisk Den. But really transitioning at this stage, you can go with Infestation Pit or you can go Hydralisk Den. And it depends on what your opponent is getting. If he's getting a lot of Marauders, then you want to get the Hydralisk Den. If he's getting a bunch of Marines, then you want to get the Infestation Pit. You guys saw I actually threw down both the Infestation Pit and the Hydralisk Den that game, right now actually. And it's really just me being safe rather than sorry, because I know I'm already kind of delayed in this game. I know I'm behind, and so I know my opponent can pump a bunch of Marauders at any time. He has the Tech Labs, and so I want to be safe and be able to deal with Marauders should they come. Also getting the Evo chambers down so I can actually research some upgrades for those Hydralisks. I do have the Banelings, Speedlings, and Mutas ready to go, so his Marine Ball isn't going to be able to push anytime soon. And right now at this stage in the game, you guys can see I'm moving my Overlord to that 3, and I do see that he is getting another expansion. Also researching the extra energy, I believe, plus 25 energy at the Infestation Pit, which does mean that the Infestors can come out and Plague right away. And so now that I see my opponent's expansion, I see, oh, he's getting a Planetary Fortress. Great. Well, that's not actually a good thing for me, because I could throw all these Zerglings in there and uh-oh, my Baneling's actually getting a little bit intercepted, so I'm going to try to deal with this Marine force, and I am actually able to take out quite a bit of Marines, but that was actually a losing battle for me because he intercepted me when I was out of position. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to do what I really wanted to do, which was get my Banelings and Lings into that SCV line at the 3 o'clock. And so now I don't have much of a force. I've only got a couple of Hydras and Infestors, and now my 12 o'clock is under attack. And I am trying to desperately get my Infestors there. Unfortunately, the upgrade hasn't finished in time, and they simply haven't had enough time to get the energy they need, so I'm just going to spawn Infested Terran. It's all the good they can do right now. And unfortunately, not enough has been done, and I am going to lose that 12 o'clock. Now you guys can see I'm actually in a really bad position, having lost the natural expansion once and now losing the 12 o'clock as well. It's such a huge hit if you are playing Zerg and you lose that many expansions. It really sets you far behind. So as you guys can see, I've just got tons of oversaturated mineral lines right now, just extra amounts, surplus drones. And I really do need to Maynard about half of those drones over to some kind of a third expo. But my opponent here wisely exploiting the back door on my base is going to come in and snipe off that Baneling's nest, which is really smart because he's so marine heavy and Banelings are the perfect counter to that. Now he doesn't have to worry about Banelings for at least a long time. So I'm going to throw up yet another Baneling's nest. And in retrospect, watching this game, I know he has a planetary fortress at the 3, but if you're ever in a position like this, it's wise to do every little thing you can to get back in the game. You guys can see I'm actually been throwing up another hatchery, and the reason for that is because I've just got all this income, all this money, and all this extra drones. I need more hatcheries, I need more larvae to spawn more units. But in retrospect, what I could have done is run my Zerglings through that back door and actually tried to harass his main base with a handful of Zerglings. And I wish I had done that in retrospect, but unfortunately I didn't. And now I just lost the 12 o'clock yet again. Huge hits here from my opponent. He's playing so well and attacking my expansions when they're most vulnerable, right when they're going up.
Mineral field depleted.
So that is actually the third hatchery that I've lost as a Zerg player. And at this point, you're pretty much down and out of the game. It's really tough to get back in, and I am going to try to sneak another expansion, and this time it's going to be at the shortcut into my opponent's base. Hopefully he doesn't notice. Now, you guys can see my forces are pretty darn small. I don't have much, and my opponent wisely has placed a Marine there, which has canceled my expansion yet again. Now, I am morphing in a ton of Banelings, and I think at this stage in the game, he's just got so many Marines, and he's so Marine heavy, that I do have the counter build to deal with that. I have the Infestors, I have Plague ready, I have enough energy for it, and now I've got a ton of Banelings. So I feel a little bit more confident. I've also got a decent army of Hydras, but I've lost so many hatcheries that I'm not quite sure where I stand in this game. And it would definitely take quite a miracle to get back in. So I am going to move in with some of my forces. I know at this point